Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, I would like to present my thesis proposal entitled Women Leadership Before and After the Event of Islam. But before that, my name is Husna Syakirah binti Ishak, matrix number 1172054. I am from Sunnah Studies and Information Management Program. First and foremost, we will take a look at the background of the research. As we know, women during the Jahiliyah age or the pre-Islamic age were denied a countless number of human rights and basic rights in their life. However, after the event of Islam in the year 622 Common Era, Islam brought a profound changes to the Arabian society in general. Back then, after the embrace of Islam, women were entitled to enjoy a complete freedom of will as individuals and to gain their social, economic and political rights equally to men in a truly Islamic society. Referring to one verse in Al-Quran in Surah At-Tawbah verse 71, the believers, both men and women, are allies to one another. They enjoy food, they forbid evil, establish prayer, pay zakah and obey Allah and His Messenger. This ayah proved that Islam doesn't. Next, moving on to the problem statement of this research. Literally, women and leadership in the context of status and rights seems to be very contentious and very sensitive issues for Muslims. While some people support the notion of female leadership, some people continue to pull out the religious reasons and gender card, while clearly women can compete equally with men in reality, just to block women's advancement to leadership roles according to some views and argues. However, the growth of leadership and other activities involving women in some Islamic countries also emphasize on their cooperation in developing Islamic communities. Moving on to the research question, generally this paper contains three significant questions throughout its completion. First of all, how Islam actually upbringing women's right in leadership after its embrace compared to the old leadership tradition during the Jahiliyah era. Secondly, who are the famous figures in both Islamic history and current age that prove that women could actually play a vital and significant roles as much as a man could. Thirdly, how do leadership patterns among women evolve from the Prophet Muhammad era to the current society, and how do women involve themselves in the changing pattern? Apart from the research question, this paper also contains a few research objectives to be looked into. First of all, the objective is to study how the event of Islam have successfully upbrought women's rights and status in leadership to a higher and to a better place compared to the non-Islamic era back then. Secondly, to discover few female figures in Islamic history that played a very significant role as a great leader during the period of Prophet Muhammad administration, as well as the modern female leader as a proof of successful women leadership. And the last one is to analyze the evolvement and involvement of women leadership from the late Jahiliyah period to the current modernizing societies. This research contains a few significance throughout its completion. First of all, to expose modern female to the fact that Islam really values and appreciates women in every aspect of their life and never put women in a lower standard or a lower status compared to men. Secondly is to encourage modern women to take part and play their own roles in leadership aspect among society in order to contribute for a better ummah. Lastly, to change the wrong stigma about female leadership. Next, moving on to the literature review of this paper. Basically, literature review has its own roles in surveying the previous studies on knowledge sharing and intranets in the same field of research. This research paper, entitled Women Leadership Before and After the Event of Islam, consisting of few Quranic verse and hadiths related to the research and consisting approximately 50 research articles from the year 2009 to the year 2018. all these research papers were arranged in 3 different themes, which are firstly, the leadership in general and women leadership, secondly, the woman and the pre-Islamic era, and thirdly, the woman in the current modernizing days. As I mentioned earlier, I arranged all the articles and all the research paper I referred to throughout completing this study in 3 themes. The first theme is the leadership in general and women leadership, contain of an Islamic view of women leadership as head of the state, a critical analysis written by Muhammad Ilyas, and another one is Mariam Bhatia and Akram Mirzai, written in 2012, entitled The Woman Leadership in Islam. As for the second theme, which is the woman during the pre-Islamic age, some article under this theme is The Woman's Right, a Historical Perspective by Dr. Abdullah Al-Kahtani, and another one is From Jahiliyah to Islamic Worldview in a Search of an Islamic Educational Philosophy by Dr. Muhammad Shukri Hanafi. And the last theme is the woman during the current modernizing society. The few articles related to this theme is by Shenila Koja Mulji and Celine Ayat Lizio, entitled The Modern and Contemporary Trends in Muslim Women Leadership, and another one is by Safianu Ishaku, written in 2012, with a title Contemporary Challenges of Muslim on the Status and Rights of Women in Islam. We have reached to the crucial part of this study, which is the research methodology. As for the research design, this research applied a qualitative design that involved the library research method only. As for the data collection, this study paper focuses solely on library research method without any application of field research throughout this study. The next element is the instrument. I solely referred to the previous researchers that write about women and leadership in Islam. As for the sample of this research only involved a certain research articles and Quranic verse and also hadith that conveying leadership pattern among women in the time before and after the event of Islam. The last element in this research methodology is the data analysis. Throughout completing this study, I solely use a manual analysis and I analyzed a certain research paper which related to my field of study. That's all for my thesis proposal presentation. Thank you for lending your ears and I hope you can understand well my points. Thank you and have a nice day.